Good evening and welcome to the December 18th, 2013 meeting. This is our last legislative session of 2013, and I would officially call the meeting to order and ask that you please rise for the pledge. Thank you. I'd ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Here.
Metzler.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
All right. The next item is communications and announcements. But before we start, just a reminder, there are two opportunities to speak before the board this evening. One here very shortly, the other one at the end of the meeting. You can do that one of three ways. You certainly can speak here in front of the board if you're here in the auditorium. You can call 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. And with that, I would ask our clerk to please start with communications and announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Please contact the tax office at 340-8626 if you would like your 2014 town and county tax bill delivered to a different address. Tax payments will be accepted starting December 31st. Please call ahead as bills will need to be printed. Also, if you have paid off your mortgage, please call so that you can make sure you will receive your bill. If you do not receive your bill by January 10th, please call the tax office. Also, Department of Environmental Conservation will be switching to a new automated licensing system beginning December 26, 2013. During that transition, there will be a blackout period. Therefore, in order to hunt, trap, or fish during the blackout period, hunters, anglers, and trappers need to purchase their licenses, stamps, and permits, and/or register for recreational fishing prior to December 26, 2013. The blackout period is expected to last at least 1 week. Hunters will be given a grace period during the blackout for reporting their harvest of animals until the new system is up and running. Thank you for your patience with this transition. And lastly, on behalf of the Town Clerk and Tax Receiver Office, I would like to wish everyone a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season, and may you enjoy peace and happiness in the upcoming new year.
Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. Just two quick reminders. First, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department would like to remind everyone that during this time of year, vehicle break-ins are at their highest level. Some tips you can take to protect yourself would be make sure your vehicle is always locked. Do not leave gifts or valuables in your vehicle overnight. If you are out, consider locking gifts out of sight or in your trunk. Be aware of your surroundings. Park in a well-lit area, if possible, and have your cell phone in hand. For more information and safety tips, please visit monroecounty.gov. And also, with the snow on the ground, please just be mindful that our parking or winter snow ordinance for our town roads, no parking overnight between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m., and this runs through April 15th. Thank you.
One announcement this evening, a last-minute gift idea for those who are looking for some gifts for loved ones. Anyone would love a gift certificate to Penfield Rec. Penfield Recreation gift certificates are available in any denomination and can be used for anything that the Recreation Department sells, including classes, lodge rentals, wellness merchandise, performances, and more. So if you're looking, have a loved one or a family member who uses the Recreation Department that you know of, you can call their office at 340-8655, press option 6 to purchase with a credit card or stop by the office in person. And that's all I have for that.
Thank you. A couple of items. First, the town hall and all town offices will be closed next Wednesday for Christmas, and then the following Wednesday for New Year's Day. The next item is that as a result of the holiday, our first organizational meeting or first meeting of 2014 will be held on the 8th. And so we'll be out of a sequence for the month of January. Typically, it's the first and third for legislative sessions. It'll be the second and the fourth for that. And so on the 8th, it'll be our organizational meeting. On the 22nd, it'll be our second legislative session. And then on the 15th and the 29th will be our work sessions, because we do have 5 Wednesdays in the month. Also, there will be a swearing-in ceremony of all of the newly elected officials that will happen prior to the organizational meeting at 6 p.m. here in the auditorium for anyone that has an interest. And then I just want to make sure everyone has on their calendars for January 30th, 7 p.m. in this room, will be the State of the Town Address. That'll be our annual State of the Town Address right here on the 30th. That's a Thursday, and that will be at 7 p.m. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. One quick announcement. The Penfield Recreation Winter and Spring 2014 brochure has hit our mailboxes within the last week. It is filled with exceptionally good and a variety of wellness opportunities for people of all ages to stay active and to get involved in our community. Registration begins January 2nd, and you can call or register online at penfieldrec.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
My one announcement tonight is the American Red Cross will hold their holiday blood drive on Monday, December 23rd at the Penfield Community Center. Anyone who has donated on or before October 28th is eligible to donate at this drive. To schedule a donation appointment, please call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit www.redcross.org. Walk-ins are welcome. And one thing I just wanted to mention today, we being Council Member Rob Quinn, Supervisor Tony LaFountain, and I, along with a couple of people in the audience, had the opportunity to be invited to the high school for the intra-club debate. It was the young Democrats and the young Republicans debating one another. I'd like to thank Charles Stewart for contacting us and inviting us, and it was fun to watch the kids. They have a grasp of the issues, and it was good to hear how similar they were in views too. So it's hope for all of us that we can get along and speak as one on many important issues of the day. So I want to thank the high school for inviting us to come and listen to them today. Thank you.
Horowitz? No announcements this evening. Okay, thank you. Move on to our first public participation. I know we have at least one person signed up. I'll ask our clerk to please call those that have an interest in speaking.
Jeff Burns.
Hi, I'm Jeff Burns. I live at 39 Scarborough Park.
Yep, and I'm Tim Murphy at 48 Corral Drive.
So we're here after the election. We wanted to follow up with a few things. During the campaign, we walked a good portion of Penfield, and we talked to a lot of people all around town. We learned a lot about different issues that were important to different neighborhoods and different groups of people. And we had promised at some time in the past that we would forward this information to the town board. We promised both the voters, and we've talked to the town board in the past as well, that we wanted to forward this information so that people's ideas got out. So it represents many of the concerns that we heard from Penfield residents and ideas that were generated during the campaign. It's not, the list that we're going to provide you is not prioritized or ranked, but each item has an interested constituency.
Okay, I'd like to share the list with the town clerk and pass it on to town board members.
Thank you.
Amy? So just to back up what Jeff said, we made a promise to ourselves, and we told a lot of the folks that we talked to that we would capture their ideas, their input, their issues, and we wanted to make sure that we fulfilled that promise, and we played them back, and we did it in a timely manner. As we look at 2014, I know there's a goal-setting process that we all go through, and the idea was to get this in your hands for your consideration going forward. It's our understanding, just to make sure it gets into the public record, that we're going to go through each one very, very, very briefly. There's 38 of them. Many of these things you've heard before. There's maybe a few that you haven't heard. But the idea, again, is to get them out there, make sure that they're heard, and we're passing the baton of sorts. So again, going top to bottom here. The first issue was the mixed use at 250 Corridor. I think that needs no explanation. Surely it's a priority going forward. The Baker Commodities issue with the odor, again, that's been in conversation recently. we think that also deserves, the attention of the town board. Mixed-use LaSalle's Landing, that's also something that's been out there, and plenty of people have wanted to talk to it. And in our document, there's also some information regarding the points, and I'm sure, there's plenty of room for discussion in the future. Number 4, the school and the town district, school district getting together. Now, this is one of mine that's close to my heart. I know Catherine Dean is excited about being the liaison to the town board. One of the things we'll be looking for is who's the liaison from the town board to the school district going forward. One thing in particular on this is...
Well, that's on record. It is every year as part of the organizational announcements. Linda Cole is that person and has been for some time. And then there is that ongoing dialogue that I have above and beyond that with the superintendent. So that's for the last at least the 4 years as supervisor, and then certainly a number of years prior to that, we've always had a town board member liaison. And I know Linda has been at least for the last 4 years and probably more.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. Linda, again, hopefully you'll be active and engaged. One of the issues I know people have been talking about is the February 13th vote for the capital projects, for the lights and the gym. A number of people, including myself, have questioned the timing of that. It's right before the winter holiday, and it's also a lot of snowbirds are out of town. We've asked, or I've personally asked Dr. Grimm if they would reconsider that, reschedule it, actually. So again, I think that's something that, deserves conversation. Town committees, just the diversity in town committees. That's something that we've discussed. The highway department, we know there's been a number of issues. The snow plowing subcontracting conversation that happened just a couple of weeks ago. That's been out there for quite a while. We know there's some things that need some closure. The fire department, something else that we had learned, I was the only person that went to the budget meeting this year. They have a $1.6 million budget. I had questioned why, all the special districts hadn't submitted their budgets prior to the first round of the town's budget review. So again, there's probably something in there that needs to be vetted out. Rezoning, there's been plenty of conversations. Folks, want to talk about that. Sewers, Parkview, I know that's an ongoing project right now. Again, some neighbors had some different opinions, some things that we hadn't heard before. Sewers out in 250, again, it kind of relates to the 250 corridor mixed use. We know there's a capacity issue out there, and again, deserves some conversation. Jeremiah's Tavern on Route 250, again, we heard a lot of folks discuss the noise issue, and we know we got some good closure on that, and there'll be a 1-year review of the actual noise generated out there, so it's something you're going to need to keep an eye on. Senior citizen issues, transportation came up over and over again. It might be a really good thing. We actually talked to Father Schwartz about this to maybe have the town facilitate getting the churches in town together, maybe to see if we could come up with some kind of programming like they do in other communities to help with transportation for the seniors. Mixed use Manitou Lake, again, another thing that's been on the docket. The folks, want to hear, where we're going on this. Mixed use in the Four Corners as well. There's been some conversation about, signage, and there's some room for improvement there. Leaf pickup, junk and brush recycling. A few folks mentioned to us in the past that, there was a time when the town used to come around and actually pick up things on the curbside. Incentive zoning. Again, I heard a couple of conversations regarding that. We'll be keeping an eye on, where the town is going in collaboration with developers. Network neighborhoods was one of the things that Jeff and I came up with. I want to say that I was just telling Jeff tonight that one of our neighbors took the initiative with waste management and was able to negotiate about an $82 a year savings per customer by just, pulling all of our collective bargaining power together. So I think that'd be a nice, powerful thing to share with the community. We have a template. Stable tax rate versus, the property taxes going up. I think you know how I feel on that. A lot of people know that there's two parts of the equation, your assessment plus your tax rate. Northern Penfield, the neighborhoods, Jeff and I both walked all of these neighborhoods. some of the folks, not all, some of them felt a little disconnected from the town. I think geography has to do with it, and also the issue with Walmart. Number 21, this is something I feel strongly about, and I'm looking to see if we can take some action. Recognition for Irene Gossin. A lot of people know her story. A lot of folks don't. It would be great to honor her. Number 22, the manufactured housing neighborhoods, and this is something I see all the time. I mean, there's a lot of folks that live up in the Harpers Park. And unfortunately, they're somewhat isolated from the rest of the community too. What I hate seeing is all the people that walk on the shoulder of the road to get down to Panorama Plaza. The disappearing shoulder on Embury Road. Again, one of the folks that I knocked on their door, took the time to show me exactly where they meant. Again, we can put names next to some of these folks if you want to get some more information. The traffic issue on Atlantic and 5 Mile Line Road. I know personally because I go through there regularly. It's been building over the years. The shoulders are pretty bad. I know there's not a good short-term solution, but we should be looking at long-term solutions. The condition of the shoulder/swale and the sidewalk along 5 Mile Line Road just north of Crossbow. The folks over in that part of the world, I know have been looking for some action. I know there's some issues with the contractor associated with that, but they've been waiting patiently. Traffic speed in Pembroke and Balsam. I wasn't familiar with this before the campaign, but it got my attention when I was in that neighborhood. They even have a website. It goes back a few years. It's really the speed of the traffic. And I think the density of the population and just the layout of the roads, somebody needs to take a look at that, or maybe a fresh look at that. The traffic speed on Penfield Road, again, it's something that I heard repeatedly. I talked with a bunch of the folks that live on there, and they said they'd really like to see the sheriff's deputies out there in enforcement. Jackson Road extension, same issue. More enforcement, maybe some better signage. Just the nature and the layout of the road, I think it lends to people going fast. Maybe we should take a quick look at that as well. Number 29. I met a gentleman that was very passionate about this, so that he has radio-controlled planes and he's not allowed to fly them in any of the parks, or at least he's been told that there's governance that says he can't, but I don't see any posted signs. I'm not familiar with it, so it's something you might want to look into. Abraham Lincoln Park, I know it's collaboration with Monroe County, but again, a few people were talking to us about, what's the future there. 31, Cobble School area and access to Liberty Street. Highland Drive in particular, there's no shoulders there, and there's a lot of young people that I guess gravitate towards the Four Corners. That's a tough area because, it's the way the road and I don't know if it's Forever Wild, but butts up against there. It's kind of a blind spot. It's a real tight corner. So a few people had mentioned that as well. There's an issue over on Parkview Drive. If you've been out there recently, there's a gentleman that feels very strongly about the SAFE Act. Some few people actually tracked me down and wanted to talk about this. Number 33, connecting Rosses Park to through the 1,000-acre swamp of the southern border over to Town Hall. One of my favorites, term limits for the town board members, and maybe changing the term of the supervisor as well as the part-time town board members. 3 more. The Parks and Rec Advisory Board, I served on it for 12 years. I know it's in the master plan to have the formation of a user focus group as opposed to an advisory board. I know the master plan was done last year, and it's only almost the end of this year. We're looking for something to happen there. 37, the capital, I talked about this earlier about the school district, but the school's capital project vote on February 13th. The timing of the budget. Thanks, Jeff. And lastly, and this is probably closest to my heart, is the company that I work for has a real shortage of skilled workers. And it was interesting, it came up with the young people today, and some of the things that have to do with core curriculum, they were talking about being college and career ready, with the emphasis on career ready. I was very interested to hear some of that. But I think, and young people have even noticed that there doesn't seem to be a good trajectory for the young people in the Penfield School District to go into vocations. So we've been trying to get some of the politicos involved, in particular Senator O'Brien. Mr. Supervisor, I've asked you if you'd sit in. We're going to schedule that hopefully in the beginning of the year. I mean, it's a community-wide problem, and it's a community-wide problem that I think that can be solved by the community. So
I look forward to that. I look forward to Senator O'Brien's thoughts on that.
okay. So again, just wanted to make sure we got this on record and felt like we were closing the loop. Again, we made promises to ourselves that we would do this, and as far as I'm concerned, this was one of our action items for the campaign. So thank you for listening, thank you for your consideration, and thank you for your future work.
Great. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Henry Schempf.
I'd like to hear the presentation from the environmental people regarding the South Bay Cove. You want me to talk now before we hear? Because I really want to hear the rest of it.
Well, so there's two opportunities to speak, Henry. Now and then afterwards. Once we go through the resolutions, you're certainly welcome to speak, but the resolution has already been acted on. So this might be the best time to do that.
Henry Schnepp, 480 Wilbur Tract Road, down in Penfield. First, I'd like to wish everybody a good holiday and a happy new year and a healthy new year. And my comments, my appreciation of the board for turning down a tax abatement to our illustrious developers and the guys of making Penfield a better place by filling it full of apartment houses and boat docks. I see the county doesn't share my feeling. But beyond that, I've lived where I lived my whole life for the most part. My father-in-law owned a marina at the outlet for 15, 20 years. He was never allowed to put in the number of docks that he would like to put in, and he made his living from that. The present owner has 10 times the number of docks. He's able to put it through, I guess, because of however he was able to do it, but his docks are far superior and extensive than what my father-in-law could have. But it's my understanding, living on Irondequoit Bay, that Irondequoit Bay belongs to the people of New York State, the surface of it. I own property on Keuka Lake. I have a business on Keuka Lake, and I have dockage on Keuka Lake for my. If I tried to do what Mr. Daniele is trying to do down there on Keuka Lake, I'd be tarred and feathered and carried out on a rail if I lived that long. And if the people next to me and the people on the lake didn't do it, the town would do it. The town of Jerusalem, or the county of Yates, or probably the DEC would do it to me. And I'd applaud them for it because I would never try to do this sort of thing. But my question to the board is, who owns the surface beyond the property line around the lake? I don't own it on Keuka Lake. I don't think Mr. Daniele owns the surface of the water on the lake. And the other thing is if he's allowed to do this, what's to say that in the county, in its infinite wisdom and benevolence, doesn't just grant a local development corporation rights to do whatever they want? And anybody who owns property on the surface or the shore of Irondequoit Bay can put out docks wherever they want until we can walk across from dock to dock and jump or ditch here and there to try to get from Webster or Penfield to Irondequoit. That's my main concern. The other one is this problem with the eagles. Now, the eagles have been here a lot longer than any of us, except maybe the Indians. And I suppose they have a certain right too. I think all animals have a certain right to exist and do their thing, whatever they want to do. Now, I understand the article in the paper that a week or so ago that there was supposed to be a buffer zone, which is going to prevent cigarette boats and who knows what all from going in and disturbing the eagles. Now, I'm not a big fan of eagles, but it's our national bird, and I respect them for all they're worth, and they ought to be tolerated. And I don't know who's going to stand out there and wave a flag and say, you can't come here and disturb these eagles because a 300-foot buffer zone. You're going to put a fence up there? Are you going to prevent somebody from going in there, kayakers or canoers or people with cigarette boats? They want to turn up the mud and kick up a lot of noise out there and scare those birds half to death. How are you going to police this? We have a harbor master who probably has got his hands full just dealing with things going in and out of the outlet. And having lived on the bay all my whole life, it's been poorly policed, and it still is poorly policed. And the people that have land on the lake, on the bay shore, are subject to erosion and distortion and safety hazards from people who, for whatever reason, go racing up and down through there. And we have the same problem on Kuka Lake. But we have a Steuben County Sheriff on the lake. We have a Yates County Sheriff on the lake who are very good about keeping those people under control. And sometimes they even say, not the sheriff, but they do crazy things, and their expensive boats go down to the bottom of Kuka Lake, about 150 feet down. So that's fine with me if they want to do that. But my concern is how we talk about, providing for all these natural environmental problems, but how are we going to do it? And who's going to do it? And who's going to provide that jurisdiction? Who's going to protect these eagles with this 300-foot buffer? Is it going to be fenced off? That's my concern. And who's going to prevent more of this creeping erosion from, everybody wants a dock and water. And certainly with the outlet opened up after all these years, it's a wonderful thing. But, I can see the point where Arundecoid Bay is one big massive docks, shore to shore, town to town, all the way around there, unless somebody puts a stop to it. And that's my main question. Who's going to do that? Is the town going to support this sort of thing because a couple of developers want to make a lot of money? Or is it going to be, we're looking for the people's interest for this whole environmental area, which we all love so much, or we wouldn't live here in this kind of weather. So that's my question. It's questions to the board, and I would hope you take them under advice and give me some kind of a reasonable answer. Thanks very much.
So
for
tonight,
listening to me.
thank you, Henry. So tonight, the resolution before the board is acceptance or adoption of parts 2 and 3 of the environmental assessment form. So the way the process works, part 1 is completed and submitted by the developer. Part 2 and 3 is done by the town, based on the work that the town board has done over the last many months. We are looking to have a positive declaration tonight, which means that an environmental impact statement has to be submitted. And then that environmental impact statement will be reviewed by all of the agencies having jurisdiction or all interested agencies. So that's the town board, that's DEC, that's the Monroe County Water Authority, and there's in the Army Corps, thank you, and the Army Corps of Engineers. So
I went through that, trying to dredge some wetlands on my property, and the Corps of Engineers said there's never going to be water south of the bay, and you can't do that without a permit. And, they gave me such a rational crap, I could adopt the whole thing. But anyway.
Henry, if you just go back to the mic.
No, I don't
So that's what we're doing. So tonight.
I was doing it, I'm very happy with what you're doing. I just want to give you encouragement to keep doing the right thing.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Henry. Thank you. Good to see you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. All right. Next person signed up for?
That's it.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to additions and deletions to the agenda, please.
Mr. Supervisor, I just would like to make one addition to the agenda. It's Resolution 13T-231, authorizing the solicitation of purchase contracts for the sale of town-owned property at 1589 Penfield Road.
Second that.
Okay, so we've got an addition to the agenda, and that will be so noted as 231. Additionally, I would ask under old business that we add Resolution 13T-2220, and that resolution is awarding contract for snow and ice removal of parking lots. Is there a second on
I
that?
will second that.
Okay, so we have two additions to the agenda. Anything else at this point? All right, seeing none, we have the minutes of November 20th before us.
I'd like to move that the minutes from November 20th be approved.
It's been moved.
I'll second.
There's a second. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, petitions. Has the board, town clerk, or town attorney received any petitions since our last meeting? Okay, move on to resolution by function, please.
2013 budget transfers, Microsoft Office 2013 Pro.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas during 2013, the town board authorized the town to implement the Microsoft Office 2013 Pro, whereas the total cost of the project will cost approximately $32,000. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current income and expenditures. Whereas there currently is $3,300 in the 2013 budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget transfer be approved as follows. General fund appropriation under contingency fund for $17,500 to Microsoft Office 2013 fund for $17,500. Data processing for roughly $10,000 moved over to Microsoft Office 13 fund for $10,000. And it looks like another data processing for $1,200 moved over to Microsoft Office 2013 for $1,200. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Discussion on this item? Again, as mentioned before at these meetings, the board, from time to time, and typically towards the end of the year, will have budget amendments before them. And we're looking to implement the 2013 Pro, and we'll begin that process, and we're making sure that all of the line items all match up for year-end audit purposes. Okay, seeing no further discussion, would entertain, call the roll, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Appointment of temporary members to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Article 5, Section 523A of the New York State Real Property Tax Law allows the legislative body of any local government in any year deemed necessary to appoint temporary members to the Board of Assessment Review to serve as administrative hearing panel members as provided. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield appoints the following residents to serve a one-year term as temporary members of the Board of Assessment Review as provided under Section 523-A of the New York State Real Property Tax Law. The term shall commence September 30th, 2013 and shall end September 30th, 2014. The two members are Craig Shabmelli and Eugene Oliver. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Both Mr. Shubnall and Mr. Oliver have served in this role in the past, so it's a reappointment to the Board of Assessment Review. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Appointment of Robert Conover to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Robert Conover has served on the Board of Assessment Review for the last 5 years as a temporary member. Whereas Mr. Conover has provided great expertise to the Board of Assessment Review and has expressed his interest in serving again on the Board of Assessment Review. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield appoint Robert Conover to a 5-year term on the Board of Assessment Review of the Town of Penfield. The term shall begin on the term shall expire on September 30th, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. 2013 budget transfers, BAS software account.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas during 2013, the town board authorized the town to implement the parcel management data conversion to the IPS program with BAS during 2013. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to the current income and expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget transfer be approved as follows. General fund appropriation under contingency fund for $27,000 to BAS software account for $27,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. 2013 cable TV budget transfers.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board has adopted the 2013 cable TV department budget, which provides for the operation and maintenance of the town's video and web-based communication facility and equipment. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget with all information for all budget accounts. Now be it resolved that the following 2013 budget transfer be approved for the following accounts. Town account under maintenance for the amount of $10,185 to town account capital for $10,185. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Adoption of local law number 1 of 2013 to extend a moratorium and prohibition within the town of Penfield of natural gas and petroleum exploration and extraction activities, underground storage of natural gas and disposal of natural gas or petroleum extraction, exploration, and production wastes.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Penfield wishes to adopt local law number 1 of 2013, which should extend the moratorium on the prohibition within the Town of Penfield of natural gas and petroleum exploration and extraction activities, underground storage of natural gas and disposal of natural gas or petroleum extraction, exploration, and production of waste for a period of approximately 1 year. Whereas the Town Board, Town of Penfield, has designated itself as lead agency within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, known as SEQR, and has designated itself as lead agency pursuant to SEQR. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Penfield held a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on December 4th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m. on said date to consider the local law, and to consider the said proposal and to hear all persons interested in the question of the adoption of Local Law 1 of 2013, and the public hearing was closed and a decision was reserved. Now therefore be it resolved and hereby is enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Penfield as follows. Local Law 1 of 2013, hereinafter set forth, Town of Penfield Local Law 1 of 2013, a local law extending the moratorium on the prohibition of gas and petroleum exploration and extraction activities, underground storage of natural gas, and disposal of natural gas for petroleum exploration and production waste within the town of Penfield. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you.
It's a long title.
Thank you. As Mr. Moore had indicated, we held a public hearing on December 4th. We heard a number of residents and some non-residents come in and encourage the board to extend the moratorium for 1 year. And they further went on to say that ideally they would like to see the board consider a ban. What this allows us to do is, as I mentioned at the public hearing on the 4th, is it gives the board the opportunity to review all the data in conjunction with our town attorney, Mr. Horowitz, from our representative that worked on this, Mr. Schlotsky, and then the goal will be then from there the board to develop that path forward for fracking, no fracking ban, or whatever appropriate action it is. And the board will be working with Mr. Horowitz, reviewing all that material and that data during this extended moratorium period. Any further discussion?
I would just like to thank all the residents who continue to provide us with additional information, very up-to-date information on this issue, and to thank Mr. Horowitz as well. He's done an extensive amount of work on this to be up to speed on the legal aspects as well as various cases around the court, around the state courts and where they're heading, which are very important for us to consider. And that being said, and having listened to the residents at the hearing, I have no hesitation in voting yes on this.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Adoption of Parts 2 and 3 of the Environmental Assessment Form and issuance of a positive declaration of environmental significance for the South Point Marina expansion proposal at 1384 and 1420 Empire Boulevard.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit, preliminary and final re-subdivision and site plan approval, and an environmental protection overlay permit pursuant to Article 3-3-10, 3-3-94, 4-4-25, and 9-9-2 of the code to allow for a 176 boat slip expansion to the South Point Marina and a 2,700 square foot clubhouse and pool on 13.28 acres at 1384 and 1420 Empire Boulevard, located in the LaSalle Landing Development Zoning District. Whereas in Resolution 13T-158, the Town Board declared itself as lead agency within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, known as SEQR. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board, as lead agency, has prepared Parts 2 and 3 of the Environmental Assessment Form and hereby adopts the same. Be it further resolved that the Town Board, acting as lead agency, has determined that the proposed action may have significant impact on the environment and has prepared a positive declaration of significance attached hereto and will require the preparation of a draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, to address issues identified in the scoping process set forth in sections 617.8 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Discussion. So, as I mentioned in my earlier remarks at Communications and Announcements, we've been reviewing this now, I think, for about 6 months. The board has been back and forth, numerous work sessions, and has prepared and modified and updated several times parts 2 and 3. We are now adopting part 2 and 3. We're indicating a positive deck of significance for this, and actually requiring the applicant to prepare a draft environmental impact statement. So this updates everything that we've done to date, and the developer now will then move forward with preparation of that to be submitted to, again, Penfield as the lead agency, and all of those interested agencies as well. Other discussion? Okay, seeing no other discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Approval of out-of-district user status for the property located at 2334 Old Browncroft Boulevard.
Second.
Larry Bell, the owner of property located 2334 Old Browncroft Boulevard in the town of Penfield, has requested out-of-district user status for his property in a letter dated November 4, 2013. This parcel is not presently within a sanitary sewer district or any extension. Now therefore be it resolved that an agreement as provided in the Town Board's Resolution Number 83 of 1982 be executed between the property owner and the town of Penfield, providing for out-of-district user status for the property located at 2334 Old Browncroft Boulevard. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute the agreement with the property owner on behalf of the Town Board of the town of Penfield.
Thank you. Discussion? By way of explanation on this, originally, this particular piece of property would not have access to a sewer district. This is part of the White Village Parkview Drive. The sewer was going to be extended out to Browncroft Boulevard. When changes were made, that route will now go down Old Browncroft Boulevard and through the flats by Glendevere's and connect into the sewer, into the interceptor sewer at that point. And so as a result of that, this particular request will join more than 70% of the people of Parkview White Village that have signed petitions to have the sewers put in for that area, and will tie this particular piece of property in. And consistent with what our out-of-district user status is, this property will be required to pay any and all fees similar to those of the individuals in the White Village Parkview Drive Sewer District. Other discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, just a clarification, did you say 70%?
I think it's more than 70% that for the Parkview White Village that had signed petitions for sewers for that sewer district.
Okay, so 70% of the residents signed the petition supporting the sewer extension.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Other discussion? See none, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This authorizes the town supervisor to sign 2 recreation contracts, one be with the sports officials of Rochester area, and the other with Jerry Taylor, who is a guest speaker for the Tuesday seniors.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, we'll move on to, and before we do so, again, one more reminder that there is another opportunity for public participation towards the end of the agenda. Again, you can do that by being here in the auditorium, 340-8771, or at penfield.org. We'll move on to new business, and I'll ask that the clerk read Resolution 220,
Do old business?
old business.
Awarding contract for snow and ice removal for parking lots.
Thank you. So moved.
Second.
I would like to, I'd like to, at this point, withdraw this resolution from consideration. The reasons for that is that we've had conversations with the contractor. We're into the snow season now pretty heavily, and we want to make sure that as we go through and look at this in the future, that we go through that in a little bit more detail. And for that reason, and at the recommendation by the Director of Public Works and support by the vendor, I would ask that we remove this at this time, and would ask that would have a second for that. I second that. Okay. So I would ask, is there any discussion on the resolution to withdraw?
I would just offer up, Mr. Supervisor, that after, contemplating this, that this is the right thing to do, and I appreciate your action tonight in this regard.
Thank you. Other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, just really quickly, I kind of echo Councilwoman Metzler's comments about this is the right thing to do at this time. I also want to commend you for your efforts for thinking outside the box and the ability to look at different aspects of town spending and how we can save money for taxpayers. So I commend you for looking at this. Not a lot of other supervisors, I think, would take a step forward to do that. But at this time, I think it's the right thing to do to withdraw this from the agenda.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion at this time, I would ask for a roll call, and this would be for withdrawing this resolution, number 220, from the agenda.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes to withdraw.
Okay. Move on to new business. Excuse me. Is there any other old business to come before the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business and Resolution 231, please.
Authorizing the solicitation of purchase contracts for the sale of town-owned property at 1589 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board has determined that the town-owned property at 1589 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, consisting of approximately 1.28 acres, is surplus and not required for town activities. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board, now therefore be it resolved that the town supervisor be and hereby is authorized to solicit written sealed real estate purchase offers for the said property located at 1589 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, in accordance with the terms, conditions, and requirements sent forth below. Said real estate purchase offers are to be received at the office of the Penfield Town Supervisor until 11 a.m. local time, January 3rd, 2014, and there and then are to be opened by the Penfield Town Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. So by way of a little explanation on this, this is a piece of property that is right in the V of Penfield Road and Old Penfield Road going up to Gentles, and Penfield Road going over the Genesee Conservation League. There is a piece of property there that the town does own that we received many years ago. and there is not a need for the town to have this particular piece of property. We'll put it back on the rolls. There'll be anyone that has an interest to purchase this. The appraised price is $7,000, so that is the minimum bid to put in. If somebody wants it bad enough, they will have to put in something more than $7,000. So we'll open those bids up right after the new year. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Great, thank you. This brings us to our last public participation for 2013. Is there anyone that would like to address the board on any matter? Mr. Burns.
Jeff Burns, again, 39 Scarborough Park. Just have a question about the property that you just mentioned, 1583 Penfield Road. I noticed that there seems to be like a substation or something of some sort in that location. Is that the same piece of property?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. There is a piece of property that is owned by RG&E and a piece of property that's adjacent to that owned by the town of Penfield.
Okay, so it would be to the east of the area of the,
It would be to the west and to the south of that particular piece of property.
but it's right in that V.
That is correct.
Okay. Is it on the west side of the creek there?
It is on the, so if you take a look at it, so we've got a lot of different things intersecting at that point. So the creek kind of, at that point, runs south to north
That's
and then
right.
kind of bends around
Yeah.
west again. But it's right in that area that would be considered east of, at that point, east of the east and north of the creek itself.
Okay. I was just wondering if that's-
West and south of the substation.
I should show you the map rather than going this way, but I feel like we're playing a game here. We're trying to figure it out. But I guess the reason I was asking is there's no mitigation that's required in that land. That land is something that's developable as is. Is that right?
No, actually, it is not. It is a piece of property that's in a floodplain. No development can take place, no development by way of any type of building structures or anything like that. The town is looking to sell it. There are at least a couple of interested parties that have at least indicated that they're interested, and they buy the property as is for $7,000 or more dollars.
Okay. All right. That answers my
Yep,
questions.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Other discussion or other public participation? Okay, seeing no further matters to come before the board, I will declare this meeting of December 18th, 2013 adjourned. I would like, on behalf of our board, our town attorney and our town clerk, to wish all of our residents happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a very safe and prosperous new year. We look forward to seeing all of you in 2014. Thank you. Have a great evening, and thank you, PCTV, as always.